Have you ever wondered what it's like to live in a truck camper, a van, basically anything really small, full time?
Is it really as glamorous as all those people on social media say?
So we're going to bring you along on our trail from Illinois to Florida.
And we're going to share along that trip what we think are the good and bad of going full time. Gary and I have been traveling full-time in our Host Cascade truck camper for nearly 4 years now. Although nearly 60 million people in the U.S. plan to travel at least once in an RV throughout the year, we're one of those few 1 million who live in their RV year-round. It's time to go south. This is enough. Yep. So what's it like? And that, my friends, is not an easy answer, since a lot of it depends on how you travel. There are as many ways to live in an RV as there are types of RVs. We've met folks here who travel from campground to campground as part of their job, to folks that live in campgrounds and don't travel at all, to folks that work and live at campgrounds half the year and then travel the other half, to folks that only boondock. There is no right or wrong way. You just figure out what works best for you.
Continue on Pine Hills Road for 3/4 of a mile.
For us, we tend to do multiple styles, which vary depending on our location, our travel need, and timing. Though we do favor those low-cost or sometimes free national forest campgrounds like this one. For $10 a night, we got a no-frills, no-hookup site, which was just perfect. One of the perks of full-time travel is that we can eat healthy on the road. Our refrigerator and pantry is large enough to easily plan for 2 or more weeks at a time. We can stock up like you would your typical house or apartment. The only difference is that cost for groceries varies a little throughout the country. Our food budget didn't change much once we got on the road. Our major hurdle is to make sure to plan for lunches or snacks on long drives, to take away that easy option of grabbing fast food. We do eat out maybe once a week, but I think that adds to our travel. Similar to living at home, you have to plan meals to keep yourself from eating out all the time. We are no longer in Illinois anymore, if it's not obvious. So we left Illinois and was headed south. We went to visit some new friends in Mississippi, which was fantastic. Great people. They also have a Host Cascade. Took us around the area. Beautiful. We'll definitely have to spend some more time there. When we were leaving that area, we were planning on going generally to Florida, but as we were driving south, Gary's parents called and his mom broke her hip. So one of the nice things about being on the road full time is that you can pivot, and that's exactly what we did. It is a lot easier to handle emergency situations while living nomadically. We can drive somewhere, then park in our camper for days or weeks at a place if needed. We also have the benefit of retreating to our camper, allowing both us and those that we're staying with some alone time. But we can also be there in a moment's notice if need be. Our truck right next to a barge. What a cool overnight spot. With all of the changes in scenery, one thing we love is the consistency of being able to sleep in our own bed. But I'm not sure if that makes up for the added stress of trying to plan where you're going to every single night. While we were on the phone, we ended up taking a different highway to go to North Carolina to help for a couple of weeks over the Christmas and New Year's holiday. She's on the mend, which is fantastic. We decided that we needed to head to Florida for a few weeks. Making sure we're not hitting anything major, because it is a little tight in here. But it's so pretty. We decided that we needed to head to Florida for a few weeks. We actually will be going back for another surgery to help out. And you know, that's kind of what you do. Family is priority. But we are taking a couple of week break before heading back to North Carolina. So we are staying at Huguenot Memorial Park, just east of Jacksonville, Florida. And there's more cars. I'm on a road. Had to pick up the tag. We normally fly by the seat of our pants when it comes to getting reservations at campgrounds. And honestly, we prefer boondocking, but that is a little bit harder in Florida. Our campground is just over that way, and we've got some Navy ships. We were trying to look for somewhere simple on the way down to Winter Haven, Florida, which I'll talk about later, and could not find any state parks whatsoever that had availability for even one night. I found nada. So we pivoted again, and I ended up finding this Jacksonville, Florida city park. We are right on this little peninsula. We're gonna stay here for a couple of nights and then head south. The main reason we are in Florida is to get a will signed. So not very glamorous, but since we are domiciled in Florida, we thought getting our will done in Florida would help, you know, promote the fact that we are Floridians. Hopefully you can see all those ships over there. That's really kind of cool. It's certainly warmer and slightly less snowy than Illinois, so that's a bonus. The only issue is that everyone and their mother seems to come down to Florida. Ooh, jellyfish! So getting good campgrounds are seriously challenging for folks like us who don't book in advance. Not touching them. All of these are not rocks, they're jellyfish. And over here, and over here, and over here. Oh my gosh, they're everywhere. I hope this doesn't look like our year of 2025. Although, kind of feeling like it is right now. Now this is one big hulking ship. Oh shit. Wow. Thing is huge. Neat thing to watch in the morning. We're moving around a lot, but we signed the will, then visited my sister for a few days. It's always more comfortable when we have our camper. We have our bed, and we're not conveniencing family by staying at their house. But you gotta be aware of those HOAs and families with small driveways. Anyway, since we were close, I decided to divert us to Cape Canaveral in hopes to see a SpaceX rocket launch. We're here at Cape Canaveral National Seashore, and we are here to watch our first official rocket launch. We found this little pull-off. We decided to get here super early, so we got a nice spot. Granted, we're probably a good 3 miles away from the launch, but this is what you get when you only can afford the cheap seats. This is a perfect example of a huge benefit of being on the road. We didn't plan to come to watch this rocket launch, but I saw it on my phone and decided to stop since we didn't have any hard plans. The rocket launch was planned for 10:30, but then was delayed to 11:30, then 2 o'clock. Several folks that came by had to leave due to the delays, but we could stick around since we had internet, a bathroom, and our kitchen for lunches. Not a bad place to relax for the afternoon either. Until we were kicked out. It's gonna be somewhere in here.
We got kicked out of our original spot by the ranger. It was perfect, but you know.
It was. It was kind of annoying that they waited that long to kick us out, so now we're rushing a little bit, but on the plus side, we are on a beautiful beach.
We are. You can see the ocean.
Yep, with hundreds of our closest friends. Even if it doesn't launch, it's a good, beautiful day on the beach. And whether you like it or not, living on the road full-time will force you to embrace change. It'll be with you just as much as your significant other will be.
There it comes. The blast.
All right, well,
So we actually got to see it take off.
yeah, wasn't as good, honestly, as the California one because it's so bright outside, and there were a bunch of clouds that were kind of in the way.
Kind of obscuring the thing.
But it was cool. Bucket list unlocked.
Yep, there you go. We can dump that bucket out.
And fill it up with many, many more.
Yeah.
And we are good with a little nose up, so we are awesome. Well, this is pretty swanky. Wow, that's really pretty though. Literally full of tears. Unfortunately, this is closed off, most likely due to the hurricanes that came in October. Pretty cool spring, literally. Oh yeah, you can really see the bubbling there. That's really cool. You can just watch that sand forever. It's like a living creature. We're trying a short trail, well, a very long trail near Juniper Springs. It is called the Florida Trail.
Florida Trail.
Just a little bit of a hike. One of the great things of being on the road full time is that we can visit places like this on the off season. So there's definitely a lot less folks around that you have to deal with. On the negative side, you're not necessarily getting the optimum weather for the area. Right now, we're in central Florida in January, so you'd think it'd have been reasonable, but it's might be chilly. Definitely not getting in that water today. Instead, a hike is better. Is it? It just kind of looks strange, doesn't it? Spongy.
That'd be good to sleep on.
Yeah.
Get enough of that gathered up.
Make a nice cushy bed for the evening. Another cool thing of being a full-timer is having the ability to go to different places for exercise and hiking, which we love to do. We'll hopefully do some more biking as well. But on the negative side, because you're traveling all the time, it's a lot harder to be consistent. And we're still struggling with that. And I don't have an answer for that one yet. But on the plus side, we're hiking today.
On Florida 40 West for 20 miles.
We're going to be headed over the border into Georgia and slowly making our way back to North Carolina. One of the things that we love about this style of traveling, this full-time traveling, is to be able to find those unique or just hidden spots that we can boondock. Over on the East Coast, that is quite a bit different, but I think we found a place here just inside of Georgia that we'll be able to share with you. We find this method of traveling, this full-time traveling, so much cheaper than other options. Going to hotels or Airbnbs are going to be a lot more expensive to travel the United States. But on the negative side, what we've seen is campground costs, again, constantly increasing, especially for those out of state. Fortunately, these Wisconsin campgrounds are a little hefty in price. For a non-resident, this was $31 for dry camping. We did have pit toilets next to us. We're way down there.
One of the things that I found full-time camping that's kind of a benefit for us is you got all your stuff with you everywhere you go. So no matter if you're in the middle of the woods, the desert, or wherever, you need something, you got it usually, most of the time in your truck if you planned ahead. So one of the drawbacks is not having enough storage. Like when we had our 3500, when we first started out, yes, we were under sticks and bricks yet, but there was no way to store anything. If it didn't fit in a cadaver tray or in the back seat, then we weren't taking it. So there was no way we could have done it with a 3500. So hence our choice of going with a cab chassis 5500. Makes it a little more storage in the back.
One of the things I was surprised about in going full time is the amount of additional brain power and a little bit of stress involved in everyday things like getting groceries, getting gas, dumping your tanks and all that stuff. All of those little things kind of can add up over a period of time just because you're constantly searching for a grocery store. When you get there, you don't know the layout of it, so it takes longer, and just little things like that. I know it sounds small, but those little stresses do add up, and you've got to keep that in mind. So you need to space things out a little bit better. I didn't plan for lunch today, so yeah, we're gonna stop for something bad for us, but that's okay. We don't do it all the time. More than we should. Definitely more than we should. And now it's time to talk about money. Except I've got to flip some sweet potatoes. Okay, so where was I? We were going to talk about money. So if you compare how we spend money now versus when we owned a house, it's quite a bit different. We had a lot more costs that could not be modified. Our mortgage, our electric bill, our gas bill, our internet bill, all of those were basically bills that I had to pay every month and were pretty much a set amount. Now that we're on the road, it seems like there are a lot less hard and fast bills. Now we do have expenses, and they do kind of even out a bit on that, but those expenses tend to grow or shrink depending on our need. For example, our biggest 2 monthly bills are campgrounds and diesel. If we have a month where we're doing a lot of fast traveling, those amounts are fairly high. Typically, we will go to Gary's parents to do maintenance or upgrades because we're not spending money on campgrounds, we're not spending as much money on diesel, and we can use that money to fork into the maintenance and upgrades that we're going ahead and doing. I will say on the opposite side, I don't think we've really got a good handle of the upgrade budget. Maintenance, I think we're okay, but the upgrade budget has been over budget for the last 4 years, and it seems to keep on going up. I just need to curtail my desire to upgrade things. Not gonna happen. I'm gonna quickly go over getting stuff. That's a little bit of a challenge. Getting packages on the road is a little challenging, but manageable. We will typically either send them to family or friends and pick them up there. If we buy on Amazon, we'll use a lot of Amazon lockers or Whole Foods. Typically, Thousand Trails campgrounds will allow packages to be delivered, but not always. You do have to ask. As far as mail goes, that's a little bit more challenging. We use Escapees to manage our mail, so all of our mail is getting forwarded to Escapees. We pay for the scan option. If it does need to get mailed to us, we typically have to send that to a family or friend in the area that we're visiting. I really haven't found another easy way to do that. Most campgrounds will not allow you to forward mail. And along with getting mail and all this other bills and stuff, one thing I have found is that every once in a while you will get a financial institution that does not like the escapee's domicile address. We have a problem right now with Ally Bank. They do not recognize that because it is a private mailbox. We've ended up having to change that address to a family member just to get around that. That also does complicate matters if that family member isn't in the same state as your domicile. So for tax reasons, that could get a little bit challenging. And to get into the nitty-gritty, when you're on the road and especially boondocking, water is at a premium. If you're one of those one-a-day shower folks, you're gonna struggle a little bit. We typically will have showers when we're boondocking every 3 to 4 days, and we'll sometimes push it. Braids are your friend on that. That allows us more time in between dumps on our gray tank. So we have had the ability to extend that because we ended up adding our composting toilet. But again, I think we're hovering right around that 3-week mark with the assumption that we're taking showers every 3 to 4 days. So we're staying here at
Bullard Wildlife Management Area. Yeah, we just kind of parked, posted up for 2 days, and we'll mosey tomorrow.
Well, we have one more thing on our list to chat about, and it's a little bit of a personal nature, so I'm curious to see how you and I differ on this. I think that's probably the biggest question that we get is, how do both of us live in such a small area without really constantly getting on each other's nerves?
Occasionally, not very well.
That's valid.
I think we do pretty well. We all have our ins and outs. She has to stay busy 100% of the time, and me, I could care less. I'll sit and watch damn squirrels crawl up and down the tree all day if I have to. I'm retired. It's what I'm gonna do.
When I get on your nerves, how do you manage that?
Typically, I'll just go wander around outside, or I'll go sit in my lawn chair outside and give her some space and give me some space, well, a lot of space. Usually that helps, so.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because I got plenty of space out here. I've got my bag of goodies, okay. Goodies that everybody else decides to leave for us to pick up.
But it's not that bad.
It's really not bad, no.
Yeah.
No, but I figured I'd do our part, leave every place you go a little bit cleaner than when you got there. So.
Absolutely. I think we have pretty different personalities. Gary is more of let's go out and talk to somebody. So if we're in a campground, he's watching people, chatting with people, that kind of thing. I am a little bit more reserved. I will tend to stay in the camper a little bit more.
Now, I know none of you believe that.
But it's true. It's true. The biggest thing that we've learned, though, is that we can be together but do things separately. And I think we do that really well. So we have our own things that we like to do, but we'll just be in the camper together. He's researching something on the truck, and I'm on the computer looking at stocks or market watching and stuff like that. And then we can share what we've learned, but we don't necessarily have to. We're happy being quiet together. What we've found is that whatever relationship you've had before you get into these smaller environments, it's basically going to be accentuated. So if you have a good relationship, I think that will continue. If you have a little bit of rockier relationship, it's going to really show. So just something to keep in mind.
Yes.
Now I'll probably shorten a lot of that because I blabbered a little bit. Are you saying I blabber? We've got an armadillo in front of us. Hey, little guy. Hey, little guy. It's okay. I'm sorry. I know you can't see anything. Oh, they hop. Thanks to you, babe. We saw them. Yay.
See them armadillos.
Yeah. We hope this video has been helpful or amusing or maybe even both. If so, please help us out by doing the like and subscribe thing. It helps YouTube know our videos are worth sharing to others. We'll be working on projects soon, so we'll be sure to share when we break stuff. In the meantime, here's a great video to show how we handle situations where everything goes wrong. It's always fun to watch the train wreck.